recording.
I told some people that I would record this to send to them. So let me kind of just start over for a second, introducing George Litthurst. Thank you, the president and CEO of Time Warp Technologies, and Regina Zona, who is our webmaster. Here's Colin Freeman coming on. Perfect timing, Colin. So, uh, as many of you know, I've been working throughout the pandemic on various little projects. One, my first project was disseminating information on how to do what we do online with synchronous technologies, uh, sort of landing on Jamkazam as the rehearsal technology, and also using Internet MIDI from Time Warp Technologies as another practically synchronous. Now, I wouldn't say it's totally synchronous, but it's very, very close to synchronous for voice lessons and coachings, etc. So that took a few months. Then I started developing Cabaret University. Cabaret University is the online learning annex of Cabaret Hotspot, which is offering on demand courses. We have two on demand courses right now, which are detailing the synchronous technologies and how to do what we do online. And there's also free content on the site, and it will continue to offer relevant content even after the pandemic, just on cabaret craft, small venue craft, and practices, and the learning of how to do that business and craft of small venue performance. This third aspect of the site is Cabaret HotTrax, and HotTrax is the digital music space, the digital, let's say, eBay, as I mentioned, for your digital products. Each vendor on Cabaret HotTrax will have their own storefront, like eBay or Etsy, and you will sell your own product that you, of course, have created and have rights to, right? I become the distributor for you to sell your product. If you already have a website and you're selling your product elsewhere, that's fine. I don't care about that. I just want to be another outlet for you to be able
Right.
to do what you do, and specifically to be an outlet where people can come as a central hub. Like, they might not know you personally, but if Cabaret HotTrax becomes known as a place to go for original material, then they will discover you in a way that they might not have in the future, in any other way. What Cabaret HotTrax is able to offer is the all kinds of digital platform, the standard PDF under glass type digital sheet music, the enhanced, very greatly enhanced SuperScore technology through Time Warp Technologies, the MP3 of the accompaniment and or the melody, whatever product you want to put out, the MIDI file, which is very important now. MIDI, we've learned from this pandemic how to do what we do, and I think the big lesson is that this is not really going to go away completely. Even after a vaccine, there are people we've reached in all parts of the country and even the globe where now you're going to want to uh, keep working with them. And the advent and use of MIDI files and that kind of technology to do this is fantastic. So let's see, MIDI file, MP3, audio, video file, if you so like. Um, what else, Regina? Is there something else on the? All sorts of digital material.
Digital material, but you can also offer services. Like
Services, right?
if you want to offer coachings or you want to offer just a blanket
Right.
product of custom arrangements
Right.
or something, so you can
So,
offer that.
thank you for that. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and share my screen, and with the sound, boom, and close this out first. You cannot minimize Zoom when you are recording this meeting. Okay, so how do I get to my screen? There it is. Okay, so I'm going to show
So you
you.
guys are kind of like the Google. You're going to want to become a place where lots of people come and we use you on a more global level, as opposed to our little websites that we have now, or our.
Yeah, I would like to think of it as a directory Right. So you have music on your website, and Seth, I'm sure you do too. Steve, you
I
certainly
don't.
do too. So people have to go to your website to find your material, right? And
Right.
someone looking for original material then can go right to this one spot where they know that occurs and
Yeah.
peruse all the different arrangers and composers and specialty material that exists. Okay.
Got it.
And I also think that one advantage is that because it is a central location, David and his team is going to be advertising
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
So that is one of the big advantages of being a part of it, because people don't have to find just your website, but David will be posting on social media or sending out things that new products have come about, and
Right.
you'll be advertised.
Right.
Got it.
Now, I'm also in contact with Harry Fox Company, the licensing company for mechanical licenses for things that are already under copyright. But I would like to start with things that are new and or in open domain. For instance, if you have a new and amazing arrangement of anything that is already in open domain, then that's fair game for us to put an MP3, a MIDI file, an text. Is really great for SuperScore, which I'll get to also. So it's, and then when I finalize this thing with Harry Fox for the mechanical license, then I want to get more into if one or more arrangers or composers, music directors would like to go through, let's say, the music theater anthology or the American Songbook anthology. I'm reaching out to Michael Feinstein, I'm reaching out to Ann Hampton Callaway, to these people who have interpretations of this great repertoire that maybe they want to also publish and distribute, etc. So, but
It's
before
surprising.
yeah,
It's surprising how many songs are now becoming public domain
yes,
because we're getting on. I
yes,
forget the year. Is it 1926? But there's a lot of very famous songs like
yes,
from Showboat and what have you. Yeah.
yes, yes. So I'm going to show you now. This is the splash page. Everyone can see it? Say yes, because
Yeah.
I can't see you. Yes? Okay.
Yep.
This is the splash page for Cabaret HotTrax. Now, you can't get to this yet because we haven't officially launched it. What happens when people go to Cabaret Hotspot? Oh, no, that's the same one. Let me do this one. When people go to Cabaret Hotspot, there is the three splash icons for Cabaret University and Cabaret HotTrax. Right now, however, that just takes you to a page that says coming soon. Okay, so this is new information. Oh, I can't get. I want to get that out of the way. Stop that. I gotta minimize this a bit. There we go. All right, so this is Cabaret HotTrax, the splash page. Okay, and as you can see, it's going to be the vendor list here. You would appear here on the vendor list page. I guess, Regina, hop in here by alphabet, or I guess you can be filtered by type of music that you are writing, etc., in various categories. But all the vendor lists will be here. People will also be able to shop by product category, specifically what they are looking for, okay? And several different types of products, whether it be a custom arrangement from one particular person, a custom arrangement with a 30-minute consultation. And these prices are just price markers. You will set your own prices on your store. These are just price markers. Going back down here. Okay, there we go. And this is where you would log in to create your stuff and customize your store, and where customers log in to do that. I'm going to go back to the home page here for Cabaret Hot. Oh, I guess I have to go back this way, don't I? To take it here. One of the very exciting possibilities with Cabaret HotTrax is our relationship with Time Warp Technologies and SuperScore. And I want to play for you a little video that we have right here on the website. And then I'm going to let George take it away for a minute to describe SuperScore and all that it can do. This is revolutionary technology, unlike anything you've seen with Fourscore or Music Notes or anything like that. And so I feel that this will really attract a lot of people once this becomes known to this format. This format really can usurp the other digital platforms that we now read music on. Okay, so everyone can see this.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to open that up and play this for you. I think you should be able to hear it. Can you hear it? Yes.
iPads have revolutionized what it means to store and transport a collection of scores. But most score reading apps simply offer a picture of the originally formatted score. In the 21st century, shouldn't we have more choices? Like different notation sizes or even some interactive features? Now there's SuperScore. SuperScore displays music in any size, horizontally or vertically. Notice SuperScore's exclusive liquid music display. It's the only app which reformats every detail of the score on the spot. The engraving style is scholarly, elegant, and easy to read, following every rule of conventional notation from the past and the present. Like other score reading apps, SuperScore can respond to Bluetooth commands for hands-free page turns. But it can also respond to MIDI messages or even turn pages automatically by following any tempo you set. The rapidly growing SuperScore library includes everything from Ortex classics to popular modern teaching favorites, and even specialized scores for alternate learning styles. SuperScore includes music from around the globe, as well as helpful tools for learning interpretation and technique. Most SuperScores include a model performance, often recorded by the composer. This offers musicians and music students an opportunity to follow along and learn new music orally as well as visually. Many works also include backing tracks, providing a motivating, authentic experience of playing with others. Ensemble scores are especially effective in SuperScore. You may choose to see and hear any part of the score. It's so much nicer to learn a duet when you can actually hear the other part every time you practice. SuperScore becomes even more interactive and fun when connected with a technology-equipped piano. With a wired or wireless MIDI connection, you can listen to the model performance on your own piano. And when you play, the score and the backing tracks can actually follow your playing. A MIDI connection unlocks all of SuperScore's interactive playback features. Try Learn Mode to test your note reading accuracy, Jam Mode to challenge yourself to keep up with the band, and Perform Mode to virtually conduct the ensemble with your own playing. Best of all, SuperScore is a free download with dozens of free files to try and enjoy. When you are ready to purchase more SuperScores, you will find video samples of each work right in SuperScore's in-app store. Look for SuperScore on your iPad's App Store or at timewarptech.com.
Great video.
It really is. Yes, it really is.
I have a question.
Yes.
I get most of my stuff from Music Notes just because it's convenient and easy. Not always ideal, but you know, it works. So Music Notes tends to have the majority of American popular song literature. So what do these, like SuperScore, what do these companies do? Are they also able to offer the same songs, you know, from Showboat or whatever, you know, like just American popular song? Or is that market captivated by Music Notes only?
Well, I want to answer that preliminarily at first, and then George, I'll let you pick it up. SuperScore can sell anything that we want to sell, right? The issue is the licensing. That's why I'm talking to Harry Fox about getting a mechanical license. Having something developed on SuperScore specifically requires a new mechanical license because it's a new technology. It is a new delivery platform. And all of the components of its new delivery platform, which I will let George tell you about right after this sentence, that's what deems it a new thing. So you're not copying somebody else's thing, right? SuperScore has the liquid technology, the liquid notation, and liquid play technology that, like you heard the example of the piano playing, that was not metronomic. That was as the composer or the player actually put it in. So unlike music notes or sheet music direct, when they play back metronomically.
Very stiffly, yeah.
SuperScore plays back in liquid mode that mimics the phrasing, that is the phrasing of the original creator of the file. Okay, George, why don't you step in and tell us more about SuperScore's ability?
So let me just give a very, very brief answer to what really is a copyright licensing question, and then go right into the features here. When it comes to print music, somebody owns the copyright of it, if it's not in the public domain. And so it's a question as to whether it's a particular individual, the estate of the composer, or a publisher like a Hal Leonard. And Hal Leonard is kind of the gorilla in the room. They're the biggest publisher in the world, and they control the largest number of copyrights. My company has published a number of things in SuperScore, and in so doing had to license content from Hal Leonard, which meant that we have to remit royalties to Hal Leonard on the sale. So the fact that something exists in music notes does not preclude you from doing the same music, unless for some reason the holder of those print rights felt that they wanted to be exclusive to one distribution opportunity or another.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like, you know, are you going to have Our Love Is Here to Stay by George Gershwin, or do I always have to go to music notes? Are you going to have We've Only Just Begun by the Carpenters, or do we go to music notes for that? Or is it going to be across the board? But we don't have to get stuck on this. That's just one thing I'm thinking about.
Right. And you can already find some of those titles on other platforms out there, because publishers are now essentially seeing themselves as being in the licensing business.
Right.
We're so fortunate to have published the original, and with a deal with the composer in which they control the license, well, it's their incentive to monetize it as many different ways as they can. So, David, would it be okay if I go ahead and share my screen?
Yes, let me give you permission to do that. I guess I'll make you co-host. Oh, no, I can do that down here.
Security button.
Yeah, you have permission to share screen. Let me just stop mine.
I do? Okay.
And you can do it, yeah.
Very good. So I'm sharing my iPad directly plugged into my computer. It's going to take a moment, I think, to come up. There we go. Let me move my video windows over here where I can see everybody. So for starters, we have this liquid music notation display. And as I pinch in or spread my fingers, the music is literally being re-engraved on the fly. And for example, in the case of this piece, if you look at bar 3, we have a 2-bar slur that's being spread out over 2 measures. It has to be broken, but now that those 2 measures are on the same system, it doesn't have to be broken. And so the shape of the slur is different. So we're doing all kinds of things on the fly, following rules of music engraving with the underlying data, which is data called music XML, which comes out of programs like Finale and Sibelius and similar programs. If I rotate my iPad to landscape, or I'm sorry, from landscape to portrait, again, the music has to get reformatted. I know of only 1 or maybe 2 other applications out there that do any kind of a liquid notation display, but they're nowhere close to publication quality music. And
The learning curve is really high on Finale, according to my friends who have it, like Tom Hubbard, a brilliant bass player. What's the learning curve for this to have something look like this? I use Logic, which is terrible for charts. So I'm trying to, at some point in my life, get something better. And this is interesting to see what you're offering. But
Sure.
What's the learning curve on this?
Well, part of it is going to be a matter of the complexity of the music and what you're trying to show. And the music that I'm showing you on the screen right now, I chose as an example that's highly detailed with an awful lot of stuff in it just to show you the power of the program. But if you were to publish something of this nature, well, there's a lot of stuff that has to get inputted. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
I think that one of the things that I'm interested in doing as the SuperScore end of all of this, and I'm sure David is as well, is to helping everybody here in this group leverage their skills and their assets in as many different ways as possible. So for example, if you have created an accompaniment for a song, there are ways to start with, well, let's just record that on a MIDI keyboard and let's migrate that MIDI data into a notation program. And all of a sudden, if you've done that correctly, you've got notes on the screen that you didn't have to input one by one. So in the process, there are lots of different kinds of shortcuts that are possible. Now, underlying all of this is this music XML data. And it's important to know that for two reasons. One of which is that it gives us this ability to have this wonderful liquid display, but it also means that fundamentally, this application called SuperScore understands the music. When you see a quarter note on the screen, it's not a case of a bunch of black pixels in an oval shape with a stem that your brain is saying that's a quarter note. The underlying data knows that it's a quarter note. So it's not a picture of music, which means that we can associate note by note with a performance in MIDI format, which we'll get to in a moment. And it also means that we have future opportunities with this technology to do things like, let's say we just wanted to hide all the dynamics. Well, all the dynamics are known in the underlying data file as dynamics, as opposed to some graphic object that we interpret as a dynamic. So that's basically what we're happening with the music XML part, but I will show you some of the flexibility of it by quickly opening up something here, which is it's a little concertino for a young piano player and a school orchestra. We can show as many parts as we want to show. We can show lyrics text if we wish. And if we go to the parts menu, we can pick and choose which parts we actually want to display on the screen as a user. And if that means that the music may end up some measures contracting because those 30-second notes in the flute part aren't there anymore, well, we dynamically respond and reformat. So think piano vocal. We can have a vocal line, a piano accompaniment, and if the vocalist would like to just see her part or his part and not the accompaniment, they can do that or turn it back on again.
So
now,
if I can interject for a minute, of course, as George is showing us all of these examples, of course, SuperScore was designed with, I think, a pianistic and classical model sort of in mind, but I'm specifically, through my relationship with George, bringing this to all of you for your work, contemporary work, American songbook work, all of the fantastic work that you do, which, and George, I want you to speak on this, would include not only the actual data of music that we're looking at now, but the MIDI sound file of the performance, maybe a video of the performance, an text of the history or your biography. These SuperScore files contain so much more than just buying a piece of sheet music from Music Notes or wherever.
Absolutely. So there's quite a lot of elements there that I'll be getting to. We did, as we initially started working on SuperScore, focus especially on piano music because I come from the piano world. And rather than sell a little bit of cello stuff and a little bit of voice stuff and a little bit of piano, we really focused ourselves on one body of literature. And piano music, it can be so highly complex with multiple voices on a staff and so forth to really make sure we were building our technology correctly. That was the place to start. But we're ready to branch out. And what I'd like to do, not to bore you with the same piece, but because it's an advanced piece, it shows off so many things. I want to bring back up this work here of Clara Schumann. And I'm just going to do a little bit of the MIDI playback. You'll hear the internal sounds that are built into SuperScore. We've got not only a piano sound, but a complete general MIDI set of sounds. If you were connected to a MIDI keyboard, you could output the performance to that in real time and hear it coming out of your keyboard instrument. You'll see the tempos changing in the bottom right corner. We can globally scale up or down the tempos with this slider, but when we're at 100%, that doesn't mean a constant tempo. It means 100% of whatever the performer did when the piece was recorded. And this will show some page turning and dynamic nuance as well as tempo.
And as you hear this, think about your own context. If you're writing an arrangement, original thing for piano, bass, drums, etc., even maybe an accompanying voice, all that can be present on the file for your purchaser to hear. Okay.
And I'll switch, once I've shown a little bit of this, over to a piece with ensemble backing tracks, and you can hear those sounds as well. Notice that you can freely move your eyes to the next page whenever it's comfortable. You don't have to wait for that instantaneous moment of the page.
Beautiful.
And so forth. Now, when this...
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you. This was recorded by a colleague of mine, and she actually recorded it on a disc clavier piano, which is a lovely piano to record on if you have the opportunity, because it's a real piano, and as a pianist, you're responding to the real piano, but you're making MIDI data. But it could have been recorded on a nice digital piano as well. Now, when she was recording, she was not listening to a metronome. We had to go through a little editing procedure, which is not difficult, in a MIDI editor, which I refer to as a reclocking of the performance. Because obviously the music notation is mathematically organized to rigid concept of beats and bar lines. It's 12/8 time, and every beat is a dotted quarter and divides into 3/8 naturally, etc. But the performance speeds up and slows down. And I've always thought of music performance as a time warping experience, hence the name of my company, Time Warp Technologies. We're crossing this boundary between the mathematical rigidity with which we notate and the flexible way in which we perform. I'm going to hop over briefly to a piece that we licensed from Hal Leonard. This was in the context of a late intermediate level set of pieces for a piano student. It's actually part of a piano method. They're holiday pieces, but it's also an example of a copyrighted tune. I'm looking for, oh, there we are, White Christmas. Now, in this case, we're seeing a piano score. And when I tap on the parts menu, what you're seeing is we have this double concept of a part. We've got notated parts, and we potentially have playback only parts. So this was a case where this is a score that's not being produced for an entire ensemble for everybody to read their part. It's really for a pianist to have a fun play along experience, but that play along means having these other instruments play along. And it's was published in this way with lyrics in the middle of the piano staff by Hal Leonard, and we've duplicated that here in SuperScore. It has an optional count off at the beginning for the pianist. That's not necessary, but I'll play it. And so forth. You know how White Christmas goes, but that should give you a sense of some of the possibilities of having these backing tracks. Now, because this was a pedagogical play-along file, except for that retard at the end of the first introductory phrase, it was deliberately rendered at a constant tempo throughout. But that was for, you know, what the publication objective was of the publisher. Interestingly, though, and we'll point this out, in the lower left corner in our playback mode, we've been experiencing what we call normal playback, in which the program just plays back everything. Some of you who are accompanists might be interested in some of these other features. For a student who's learning to play the piano, there's a learn mode in which you're on a MIDI keyboard connected to the iPad, and the program will wait for you to play your note correctly. There's a jam mode where it waits for your first note and you have to keep up. But the interesting part for you potentially is there's a perform mode. If you were on a MIDI keyboard, you could play this part and speed up and slow down, and the backing tracks are going to follow you as you do so. So score following is something that we had been a pioneer in. We have another program that's really a score following program on steroids called Home Concert Extreme. And if you wanted to publish MIDI files as a standalone possibility, one of the playback possibilities for that MIDI file is Home Concert Extreme, in which we just bring up the MIDI file, we turn it into rudimentary notation, and then the idea is that the player plays the part they want to play, and all the other tracks follow along.
George?
Mm-hmm.
I need to interrupt you for just a minute because Regina has to go in a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
And I want her to show us around the HotTrax site. And then we're going to come back to this. But as you can see, guys, I'm very excited about this technology and how it applies. If you could, George, stop sharing your screen.
Sure.
And Regina, you can set up to share your screen and show us around how it applies to your original music and contemporary music, and specifically what we do in cabaret and small venue with such specific arrangements. It can really be a game changer for many of us. At least I think so. I think this is really revolutionary type of technology. So that was my impetus to start all of this and to bring this technology to the cabaret and small venue performance community and to develop HotTrax in the first place. Regina, go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm sorry that I have to leave so soon, but I just wanted to just show you a bit around as potential new vendors. So as David showed you, this is the front page of the site. And so essentially what's going to happen is that on the front page, the first section is going to be a featured vendors section. So you will have an opportunity to have to be a featured vendor and always show up on the front page of the site. If you don't need to be a featured vendor, your store will show up on the vendor list with all of the stores there. But then on the front page, as you scroll down, here is a section that takes us to the SuperScore page that you already saw. And then down here by category, as you scroll down, these are the most current products that are being offered. so that you can see this is a section of the most current MP3 audio tracks, the most current MIDI tracks, the most current sheet music and charts, the most current services. And as there are more categories of products that you want to sell, we will add those product lists to our front page so that people can just search by particular kind of product. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you what a store looks like. And mind you, this is not a finished site. So right now, this is just sort of it will look very similar to this, but there may be changes as we are testing things and seeing.
And there
But
are
if,
personal branding options for each store. So each artist
yes.
can have their personal brand on their store.
Right. So essentially what we can do is if I click on a HotTrax administration, then that will take us to, oh, wait, where did that go? Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So that will take us to the store for this is the HotTrax admin store. And so you will see that first of all, there is a personal picture of you, or if you have a particular logo that you want to put in, that will appear here over your store name. Then this is an opportunity. This is a banner, which again, I can provide you with a pre-made banner, or if you would like to make your own banner, we will give you specs for which you can make it. Here is an opportunity for a customer to contact you via email if they have any questions about your work. Then as you go down, you can see there are products by category, but then here is a listing of all products that you offer. And so if you go down to let's do an MP3 audio. So if anybody clicks on this MP3 audio, it will take you to the product page. And so in the product page, what you will see here, my internet is like super, super slow, but what you will see here is the title and the information of that MP3. And then here is a sample track. So you will see that this sample track is just 41 seconds of the track itself.
Is it true about the fruit? My intuition tells me.
So when you are setting up your store and your product, if you are selling an MP3, what you want to do is you want to have that full MP3, which will be downloadable once they buy it, once a customer buys it. But you also want to create a little preview track that can be on this site so a customer can just get a sense of what it sounds like. And the customers also have an opportunity to review the pieces. That's something that I think I don't know if that's something that as an individual can turn off if you don't want to have reviews. I will have to check on that. But right now it's set up that all vendors will have reviews if customers choose to do that. And so then...
let me ask you a question. I would assume then that also this page, the vendor page, not the product page, but the vendor page is also shareable via the URL.
Oh, yes.
Each vendor can share that across social media platforms, etc.
Right, absolutely. So actually, if I hit the go back button, you can see the URL up here is hottrax.cabaret-hotspot.com-store-HotTrax admin. So HotTrax admin is the name of my store. So your stores would also have that /store/your store name. And so that's how you can share that. Then let me also show you a sheet music. page. So that if you are going to sell sheet music as a chart or as a fully realized accompaniment, and when I'm talking
this is the
about,
regular
this
sheet
is
music, not
PDF.
SuperScore. Yeah, PDF.
Right, this is PDF. Then it will look like this. There's information that you can add here, but you will also see that you can also provide a single page preview of that you can. Now you have the opportunity to put a watermark on it. If it's a chart, which is only a single page anyway, you can choose to just create a JPEG that has just the first 2 lines of the chart. So again, you're not giving away the entire chart just by the way that it looks on the screen. But that you will, again, that's something that you will need to create when you upload your files. Now, I will also tell you, if you're listening to this and going, oh my God, I just want to do my arrangements. I don't want to have to create previews and watermarks on PDFs and whatever. I am going to have my own vendor store on here, marketing specifically to you vendors, that if you would like me to upload your products to your stores and create previews and whatever, I will do that for a fee. So that is something that I will offer, and I'm sure David can tell you about that later. Yeah. But that is how that works. So basically,
when someone is selling a SuperScore product, the link will go to the SuperScore store.
Right, exactly. Right. And if you have, I would imagine, we haven't talked about this yet, but if you have a piece that you want to offer as a PDF and a SuperScore, that you could probably we could probably just have one product page for that, and have a link for the SuperScore to go over to that, should you want that. So then how this happens, what happens is you sign up for your vendor store, and you create your shop, you upload your products. And then what happens is that when somebody purchases, when you set up your vendor store, you're also going to be setting up your financial information. So you're going to set up your PayPal account, or if you prefer to be paid by instant check or whatever, bank transfer, you can set that up as well. And what that does is that creates the direct financial line from HotTrax to you. So what happens is that when somebody purchases something that they added to their cart and they go and they purchase it, proceeding to checkout, they have an opportunity to either pay via PayPal or bank transfer. And what then will happen is that once you've made that sale, HotTrax will be notified that that sale has been made. Your money will be saved in a HotTrax account, automatically minus the commission that HotTrax takes for the sale. And the commission also includes the PayPal fee, should there be a PayPal fee attached to it. So if you sell this product for $1 and HotTrax, I'm not quite sure yet about the commission completely yet. David will explain that later on. But if you sell this for $1, HotTrax takes 15 cents off of it. Then once that transaction has been made, you will notice that you will have an 85-cent credit in your HotTrax account, which then you can immediately request that those funds be released, and then they will be released to you as fast as PayPal can send them out. Or if you just want to bank your sales onto HotTrax and then wait until you have a certain amount, then that money will be sent to you whenever it is that you request it.
Right.
So that's sort of the basics of everything. And as we get into having some of you sort of hop on board for our sort of launching vendors, I will be in touch with you directly and ask you to send me what you have and whatever. What I am offering to do for our startup vendors is that I will set up your store for you and I will post your first 10 products all for free. So you don't need to pay for that. So you can start, you'll be able to start selling those 10 products by doing nothing once the site launches. And then you can decide what you want to do from then on. If you want to then continue to upload your products yourself, or if you want me to do them for you, I'm happy to do that for a fee. So, but essentially that's how that works.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No
Thank you so
problem.
much. I know you have to go. You have a lesson.
I do. Thank
Regina,
you so much. Yes.
you and I have had a little bit of correspondence, and I just want to say it's nice to meet you in person.
Yes.
And now that I've seen that beautiful, dramatic red wall behind you, I know where some of the aesthetic
Exactly.
inspiration has come from for the website.
That's true.
Yes. Well, when one loves red, one loves red.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions, Seth or Steve or Colin? Do you have any questions? Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I guess this is for Regina and David. For and you may still be deciding this, and you may be looking for input, but the price of a chart of an original song, just a lead sheet, is there a kind of standard pricing for that the market has shown is the correct price, or how are you thinking about that?
Well, if you look at, for instance, music notes, lead sheets themselves are like $3.99 for the one sheet. A piece of music is anywhere from $5.99. The PDF under glass is $5.99. I think SuperScore would be a little bit more expensive. I don't know, George, what is your average price on SuperScore? But it has lots more data in it. It's a bigger product, including the historical text, etc. But so we'll post some guidelines of what market value is, but you are absolutely free to set your own prices.
Okay.
It's not.
Yeah, I've never actually
site-wide.
purchased just a lead sheet on music notes. It's usually, as Regina described it, fully realized accompaniment.
Right.
Another question is, and I guess this is for George, does SuperScore import from Finale or Sibelius?
What SuperScore does is this: you use a notation like a Finale or Sibelius. You export to music XML, and if you want playback, you separately create MIDI data, and those two things come to me, and we Time Warp puts that together and compiles the SuperScore file. And
Wow.
at this point in time, the single best program for creating accurate and detailed music XML data is Finale.
Okay.
When we get Sibelius, we typically have to export the music XML, import it into Finale, fix some stuff, and export it again. But that's the end data that we use.
And that's
So-
done by your office. Like the vendors give you those two pieces of data, and you guys put that together, and then put it up on the SuperScore platform.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
So if I wanted a sort of fully realized SuperScore version, I would export from Finale, which is what I use, and occasionally it can be fully realized. Export that to a music XML file, send that to you, and then record a MIDI performance and send you that MIDI data. Is that right?
Yes. And there's some additional details that we would eventually get into, but normally it's going to be good if you take your Finale file and do a print to PDF and send that to me as a reference of what your intentions were, because sometimes there could be some discrepancies in the output. And it's nice to have the Finale file in case there's some silly little thing that needs fixing. We could just open it up and fix it.
Right.
But
And there's also
you end up maintaining ownership of whatever it is that you send to us.
Right.
This is very important too, that you are the owner of your own work all the time. You're not, I'm distributing through HotTrax and SuperScore. I'm the conduit to get you there. But anytime you want to pull out or go somewhere else, that's fine. We're not in competition with anybody. We are not exclusive. I just want to help you gain another platform.
Great. And as someone who has a concert of my music coming up between December 12th and 15th, when is the site? When is the store launching?
Well, we're basically ready for the store. The technology of the website is complete. Now I'm ready for, I want vendors to begin to populate it. I don't want to open with empty shelves. I want to have 5 to 10 vendors with 10 or more things on, and then we grow from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could send 10 charts to Regina pretty quickly, but it depends on how soon you have other composers
you can do
populating
it
the
today.
store.
You can do it today, and it'll get up. She'll work with you to develop your store. If you have any branding logos or photos that you want to use on your store, she's committed to helping. I think our first 5 or 10 vendors make that happen for them as soon as possible.
Right.
Okay.
What's Regina's contact information?
You can reach her at regina@cabarethotspot.com.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very
Seth,
exciting.
any questions? Thank you, Steve. Seth, any questions? No? All righty. Colin? I know you were
sounds
interested.
great.
Oh, thanks, Seth.
Can I show a few more things, David?
Yes, I think so. I don't want to go too much over 2 o'clock because I want to keep respect of people's time. We've been an hour.
Okay, so I'll make this really very fast. But you had alluded to a couple of things that we haven't actually shown yet. So my iPad should be coming up here momentarily. All right, so this is an example of a work that we published, and it includes PDF content as well. And so we can include that. So in this case, you're seeing a cover. By the way, Beethoven's in silhouette because we're not sure he really composed these pieces. And inside, we've got an image of the original publication from 1807. There's historical commentary and so forth, performance suggestions. Anything that you could put in print, we can also offer in terms of a PDF. We're not restricted by the cost of printing in color because this is all digitally rendered and so forth. And so we did the pieces in this particular case, and we went back to original sources. And so our rendering in Finale was faithful to the original, hence the urtext concept. But we also did something else in this particular case, which was we cleaned up the original artifact from 1807. And so we provided the score the way you would have gotten it if you had lived back then and had purchased it back then. So things that you can do in terms of providing, if you wanted to, I'm not saying you have to, but lyric text in different languages that are in a PDF or some performance tips, those things are all possible. And lastly, David had also mentioned the possibility of video. And a very quick example of that would be this etude here of Moskovsky. When I go to the score itself, you'll notice in the upper right corner, there's a film strip button. And if we tap on that, we will bring up a video. It's going to be streamed from the web, but the experience is right there inside of SuperScore. It's taking a moment here to load. I'll just play a couple seconds of it once it finally comes in. I wonder if Zoom is taking up all my bandwidth here. Here we go. I guess we're still buffering. So in any case, what the video can be, it can be anything from an actual performance to a discussion of the piece or working with a student on the piece, masterclass type presentation, a lesson on diction for how to sing the piece. And not sure why.
And or
internet
just a
told me to
performance
slow
of the
down.
piece, like a
Pardon me?
just a performance of the piece. You said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any of those things are possible. They're not mandatory. It's just optional. And the message here basically is as you grow into this format, there are just a multitude of ways of expressing yourself and providing for the customer a rich set of materials that heretofore have never been available in such a packaged way.
Right.
But the other good thing is that all of those components that go into the SuperScore file, well, they can be monetized separately. Your video could be separate. Your performance recording as an MP3 file could be separate. The sale of the MIDI data that's in SuperScore could be a separate thing.
Right.
Your PDF rendering of your finale score could be a separate thing.
Right. That's all really exciting.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, George. Thank you. So, all right, if there are no other questions, I do want to respect people's time and keep it as close to an hour as we can. Email me with next steps or email Regina directly if you know you want to start to develop a store. What I'm offering our very first core, there's going to be, I think there's 3 of you here now. I think our first 5 vendors are going to have a free year of being a member of the site. The annual yearly fee for being a vendor on HotTrax after that right now is proposed at being $40 for the year, with a 15% commission on anything you sell in HotTrax. SuperScore is different because we have a different financial arrangement with George, etc. It's not going to be much more than that at all, and hopefully it'll even be less. This is my starting percentage because I don't know the financial money-making aspects of this yet. My goal is to gain you another platform in and out of the pandemic, and let's see how it goes. Really, all I need to do is make sure that this site pays for itself. This site has a heavy component. I think she calls it the Docan system or whatever. It's how you make the site a marketable eBay type site. Has a lot of expense to it. So all I'm really interested in doing is that HotTrax pays for itself and you guys get the rest of the money. So I really do appreciate your taking the time to join us. Contact me or contact Regina at cabaret-hotspot.com. I'm David at cabaret-hotspot.com, unless you know otherwise. And thank you so much for joining us, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank you
for
very
coming back,
much.
David.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Thank you. I'm going to end the
Bye.
recording. Yep.